As you can see, we're not in our usual kitchen situation. We're in my Connecticut kitchen. So today we're going to make something very warm and buttery and Connecticut-y. That's right. We're making Parker House style rolls today on the baking chin. Chin, and welcome to the Baking Chin, the show that tries to show that baking is fun, easy, and I think rather appealing. Alright, so as I mentioned, today we're going to make Parker House rolls, and Parker House rolls are a very savory and buttery and very wonderful type of bread roll that is wonderful with any type of meal, wonderful with a nice roast chicken or a Thanksgiving turkey or what have you. It's just a wonderful type of bread to make, and very typically New England and Connecticut. Alright, so let's get started. What we'll need for this recipe is 325 grams of white flour, 50 grams of whole wheat flour, and 25 grams of rye flour, 50 grams of butter, 1 egg, 25 grams of sugar, and 10 grams of salt, and 4 grams of yeast. I've dissolved this in a little water because that's the only kind of yeast I can get over here. I already measured out the water, so it'll be even in the end. And then I'll need 200 grams of water or milk, depending on your taste. Today I feel like I'm going to use water instead of milk. Milk will make it even more rich. And now that this is all well mixed together, I can knead it, and I can either knead it by hand the old-fashioned way, or I can use something that Santa Claus brought me. And I was a rather good boy this year. I didn't do anything bad. Too bad. He gave me this huge KitchenAid mixer, so I'm going to use that to knead the dough today. And I'm going to use the dough hook attachment. So I'm going to take the dough off with my handy kitchen scraper. Set that aside. And I shall attach this onto the mixer. You can tell it's new, because I'm not as used to it. All that kneading by hand. I have the crank-up model. And now, I'm going to set this to 2, and I'm going to knead this for about, I'd say, 2 or 3 minutes. Maybe 4, depending. And if you do it by hand, I'd say a good 5 minutes of heavy kneading will do the trick. And you just want to knead this till it comes off from the sides. When working with bread, it's not a bad idea to have one of these rubber spatulas around just to add a little flour to the sides. Well, I think this is just about done. It's come off from the side, it's very elastic, and it's very smooth. So, I think this is about ready to rise. Put this aside for cleaning. Thank you very much, Santa Claus. Alright, so I'm just gonna put this on the board for a second. A little flour. And now, just to help it rise a little bit, I'm going to just fold it like so in on itself, and then quickly form it into a ball, a boule shape, and And that's ready to rise. I'm going to add a little lubrication for a little extra insurance that doesn't stick. And I'll let this rise for about, I'd say, an hour in a very warm place until just about doubled. And I will not forget to cover it. Alright, well, thankfully we already have a risen dough. This one I made earlier. This is a half of a batch, so that's why it looks a little smaller and a little more flour. And I'll show you how to form these. Here's my buttered tin ready for this dough, and I'm just going to knock out a little bit of I'm going to knock out the gas. A lot of people say to punch it down, and I guess that's fine, but it seems rather violent. I like bread. Now I'm going to cut it in half and cut it in half again, and then cut it in half again. And I think I'll make little rolls with this one, so half again. So you'll have a lot of nice, cute little rolls. And the way you put these together is you just fold them in on each other. And if you're making a bigger one, this won't be as tiny. Just fold it into itself. And then do this. That way, it turns into a nice boule. This is the same as I showed you how to do with the brioche, actually. See, I don't have much flour here at all. And I'm just doing like this, and then really quickly until it becomes a nice wound up ball. And now I'm going to cover this and let this rise for about another half an hour to an hour. It depends if you put this in a very warm place, it'll rise in about, I'd say, 45 minutes, but if you just leave it out, it could be an hour. It depends on the temperature. But let this rise until about double, and then I already have one lying around. Through the magic of television, and now this one is already risen. This one's doubled in size. This is my big one. And now we're just going to add a little egg wash. And my egg wash is just simply a beaten egg that I've run through a sieve to make sure it's all nice and smooth. And you'll want 2 layers on your Parker House rolls. Or I guess Parker House style. You just want a thin layer. I've actually gotten a little in the crevices, so I'm just spreading all of this out. And now, let it sit for about 5 minutes to let the first coat dry a bit, and then add a second coat. Here are the finished Parker House style rolls, and it's lovely and golden. It smells very rich and savory. And the way I test these is I do the old-fashioned putting the prong into the thing, and if it comes out clean, that means it's finished. You could use a knife too if you so chose. But that's the way I check these type of breads out, and I think I shall taste a bit of it. All you have to do is break off a piece. Ugh. It's still a little warm actually from the oven. I think these are very nice to serve partially warm. I think that's it. They're done full and through, and let's give it a bit of a taste. That's very good. Very savory and rich and just about, I'd say, my favorite type of bread roll for a meal. And if you're wondering about this apron, my mother made it for me as a Christmas present. I think it's rather nice. So thank you very much for joining me on this country Connecticut Parker House Roll kitchen adventure. My name is Ian Chin, and as always I wish you happy baking.
A crazy little train in Cochabamba takes you for a ride that's quite a thrill. This crazy little train's the choo-choo cha-cha. It cha-chas all the way to Cha-Cha-ville.
And as always, a kitchen scraper is very good for getting rid of unwanted pests.